Hi everyone, I'm Myx Chanel. I am a drag artist, performer, podcaster, host, multi-hyphenate, and I am about to show you my shelf. We were a really big book collecting family. My siblings had their own collections. I eventually grew to have my own collection. And unfortunately, we lost a lot of that nung nasunugan kami in 2017. Very few of our personal books made it out. Medyo iba-iba rin kami ng books ng literature na gusto ng mga siblings ko, but it was, I think, because of them and because of my family that I really grew to love stories.
So, Myx, can you describe your relationship with reading?
I started reading, well, probably from a young age. I had a big curiosity about books because I'm the youngest of four and my siblings were all very into books. So we actually had quite a large collection of books from especially mga YA and teen fiction from the 90s and 2000s. So mga Goosebumps, R.L. Stein, Archie comics. Available na yan lahat sa bahay. Bata pa lang ako. To the disdain of my siblings, ang ginagawa ko, kuha ko ng random na libro, tapos kukulayan ko siya. But I really fell in love with reading. I think I was about grade 4 or 5. And the first series that I really got into was The Chronicles of Narnia. Napanood ko na yung movie. So I was curious about the books. And then parang natapos ko yata all 7 in the span of like 2-3 weeks. It was through books. And also kaya rin siguro meron pa rin akong like attachment to young adult fiction. How you're able to kind of create the world in your head by yourself. Like yes, the author describes it a certain way, but to each person, it's the way that you see the books happen in your head. It's very personal. And that's kind of what I fell in love with. Because of how much I used to love to read talaga, parang na-program na yung utak ko to work in that way, to work in a very visual way, but also to think of like, what is this book trying to say? Or what is my message? What can I derive from this? Ano yung, kumbaga, ano yung moral of the story? I mean, I'm not entirely sure about how other drag queens have their creative process. People sometimes call me a look queen because I love putting together looks. Like the visual has to be grounded in an idea, in a character, in a story.
And so, how has reading helped you as an artist?
Reading has made me a very like inquisitive, curious person. My brain is always operating at like 100 miles a minute. A big part of that I think is still healthy for me because of how books have programmed my brain. Parang rather than always spiraling into like my own depressive thoughts, my brain just is constantly building worlds. I guess that's why parang I also fell into a lot of like fandoms around books and movies because we're all in a way creating this world together as a community. And then I also started to fall in love with like movies, how books are adapted into movies, the process. The love for stories that books gave to me, gusto ko siyang nahahanap in how people treat it across different media. I love learning about what people have to say about it. Not just the book in itself. Kumbaga, the book is the gateway into a world, into a community. Nasa ganung stage ako right now, but I still do enjoy reading whenever, the neurodivergence allows me to.
So many ways to read. But when are you most compelled to read?
Books are still so sacred. I feel like I have to be in the right headspace to take it in. Hindi pwedeng in passing ko lang siya or hindi ko siya masyadong ninanamnam. Although, I have discovered quite recently the magic of audiobooks. It helps a lot, especially pag nandito lang sa bahay when I'm just doing housework. Mag-play ako malakas audiobook. Whenever I go on vacation, I always try to bring a book with me. Kasi dun ko nahanap yung parang mental peace and quiet na ready ako to absorb literature in the written form. If I get a lot of like reviews na parang, oh, ang ganda ng lore, ang ganda ng world building ito. Kasi nandun pa rin ako sa fiction eh. Like, I can't let go of my fiction just because I love parang the creativity that an author pours into a book, the amount of details, the amount of care about the lore and the stories of the characters that they put in. If a book is, pag maganda yung reviews on that, ayun, I'll pick it up. Or, what I recently love is like a coffee table book. I love a book that's very visual. For example, this is a book that I have really gone back and forth reading. It is an illustrated manifesto of drag. It is both like an autobiography, a historical account, and like a visual love letter to drag. I love when the author or the book series is really specific with the visual, na sila na mismo yung nagpapakita sa atin how they imagine it like. And in a way, it's hindi siya restrictive eh. Hindi siya parang, oh, ito lang siya. It's more like, this is what we have. So, it gives you a certain like language to build on top of that in your own head. Nakakatuwa kasi makita yung interpretation ng ibang tao and how it aligns with your own interpretation or not. And how that just makes the world feel even richer.
What book would you like to experience again for the first time?
Siguro parang pinaka-sentimental talaga for me is the Chronicles of Narnia. Kasi parang, ayun nga, I watched the movie when I was a kid. I really loved the movie. And then parang the book series, the story of it spans over decades and different storylines and different families and different characters. Parang that really opened up to me how vast world building could be through storytelling. As in, ano siya, ang dami niyang stories all set in just one big world for you to create in your head by yourself. 39 Clues. Hindi siya sobrang sikat na book series. Hindi siya like kasing patok as like yung mga kasabayan niya. But the 39 Clues kasi it's like this weird mix of fiction and non-fiction. It takes historical events and connects it to this like one family, this one bloodline, and how that all connects. Tapos ang fun kasi the book itself has a lot of puzzles that you can solve na if you look at the margins, there's illustrations in the margins, there's different, kahit nga yung gilid ng book, yung mga ganito, sometimes they would have messages in this part. There's a lot of like very rich world building that's derivative of historical events. Ang saya-saya niyang himayin. Oh my God, I didn't get to talk about this. So the Jano Silang series, very, very close to my heart because for my thesis production, for my theater arts thesis, I got to play one of the characters. So back in Ateneo, we did theater plays on the first two books of Jano Silang. I got to play one of the cover art characters, Miro. So these are the twins, Miro and Mira, and they have the power to traverse from the current world into the other dimension.
Seems like you've read so many books. Do you share them?
I do share the books that I read. Plus, parang, sayang eh. I mean, it's already there, it's already printed and written. I lent to someone way back in high school that never made it back to me. And I don't mind. It's The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. It's about like the law of attraction and how thinking positively can attract positive things to you. Although I feel like if I read it again now, iba ulit yung magiging tama niya sa akin. Siguro parang in my idealized imagination, it's just being passed around from person to person. I don't know where it is and I don't know who it's with now, but hopefully it's helping someone kung kanina man siya.
From reading all those books, which book character or author would you like to have dinner with?
I'd have to say Suzanne Collins. Like the author of The Hunger Games. Siyempre, nung una, focus ako dun sa action. Focus ako sa life ni Katniss Everdeen. And then now, I'm so interested in Panem, the politics, the districts, the uprising, the political rebellion, complications of the politics of the world, and also the commentary that creates on the world that we live in now. Because as Suzanne Collins says, na parang her inspiration of creating the Hunger Games was how nung time ng Iraq War, she was flipping through channels na parang one channel is a news channel talking about the Iraq War, and then the next is the reality TV show, and then Iraq War, and then parang that's how she thought about it.
So in case of a fire, do you have a book which you would save?
It's a real-life answer. And the only two books that survived nung nasunugan kami was this one, Fashionable Filipinas. It is a coffee table book on like the history of the evolution of the Filipiniana. How we got from like the silhouette of the panuelo to the now pinakasikat na butterfly sleeves. I love things with deep history. And then also, this other one this is an art book by Mark Rydens. He is a pop surrealist. Yun yung tawag sa genre of painting that he has. Because he likes to take elements of contemporary pop culture and create surrealist paintings. Elements that seem very familiar, very contemporary. Oh, for example, here, it's Teletubbies. But then, like, it's Teletubbies with, like, stoic baby faces, tapos iba-iba yung symbols nila. Here, Saint Barbie. I love his commentary on pop culture through his paintings.
Any recent book purchases you'd like to share?
I was recently in Coron, and right before kami nagkaroon, pumunta kami ng book sale. I love a book sale, love flipping through the different books that they have. And I found this one. This is Self-Love Through the Sacred Feminine. I'm recently at a point in my life where I am reconnecting with the feminine parts of me that may have been conditioned out as I was getting older. I'm in the middle of reading this one. I also love it because the book is by the painter. The author is the painter, and she talks about like how she was inspired to create 13 paintings of like iconic feminine figures in history or maybe in like mythology. For example, she has a chapter on Isis. She has a chapter on Mary Magdalene. And how parang each of these feminine figures in history and in cultural mythology talks about how to cultivate your inner divine feminine. You know, because the world that we live in, we are kind of conditioned to be harder, to be stronger, to be more self-sufficient, to kind of shed away our softness. And this book is like just encouraging the reader to reconnect with that side of you and embrace all of the things that make you traditionally feminine, like your emotions, your vulnerability, your openness to other people.
Here's a big question, Myx. What are your top 5 favorite books?
One has to be The Hunger Games, the entire series. And read it in publishing order. Do not go to the prequels. Read the original trilogy and then go to the prequels as they were released. It's, yes, dystopian siya, but still very rich. I just want to hype up the 39 Clues. I don't think it was a well-loved title when I was reading it at the time. Marami sa mga kasabayan niya mas sumikat na. So I have to hype that up. If anyone can still find copies of the 39 Clues, especially the original 10 books in the series. Oh, The Little Prince. Medyo parang, ano na siya, given. But I na-appreciate ko yung Little Prince kasi whenever you read it, there's always something different. I have yet to read it in recent years. Pero like required reading siya no high school. I read it nung college. And it is really one of those literature na nag-evolve yung understanding mo of the book as you get older. So I can't wait to like finally have the divine inspiration to pick it up again. Sobrang visual aspect ng tarot reading, pero meron pala siyang literature to back it up. That's something that I loved learning when I picked up my first tarot deck. So a lot of like basic tarot decks come with a book companion, not just on how to read the cards, but it tells you the story of the Fool. So the Fool is the very first card in a tarot deck. And the major arcana, yung mga alam natin yung parang the Fool, the Star, the World, the Wheel of Fortune, those are all characters that the Fool encounters in his life of enlightenment. So how he becomes the Fool and then he meets these different figures and what each figure contributes to him growing up, kumbaga. But then at the end, he becomes the Fool again and the story restarts. It's a little bit of a commentary on people's lives where at some point, you're the fool. Ikaw yung mangmang, ikaw yung walang alam. And you're just ready to absorb all the knowledge. And then you will reach a point of enlightenment until you have to put yourself back in that position of, I am ready to learn a new set of knowledge and enlightenment about the world. Okay, I really have to keep going back to this. I actually haven't finished it all the way through kasi pabalik-balik ako ng chapters just because like after I've read this chapter, I've read a few chapters down the line, I'm like, oh, I want to go back to that one. This copy has been with me, I think, for about 2 years now. Hanggang ngayon, hindi ko pa rin siya natapos kasi binabalik-balikan ko siya. As in, like, binabalik-balikan ko yung just the cleverness in the writing of how someone is able to take an account of their personal life and then intermingle it with moments from history and how that kind of influences each other, or at least their own perspective. So, Sasha Velour, like, she is a genius.
Myx, do you have any tips on building your own home library?
Pick up what resonates with you. Don't pick up a book because of a fad, because of a trend. Because chances are that's just gonna start collecting dust. And I mean, collecting books for the aesthetic is one thing, but if you want to build a library of books that resonate with you, pick up books that do resonate with you. Like the concept or like the context or story is something that you are genuinely interested in. No matter what age range it's for, pick it up. If you see a children's book na parang, oh, ang interesting nito, pick it up, buy it, collect it. Because you never know what you can pick up from it. You never know what heartstrings it's going to tug at you.